Mormons puzzled over post-polygamy Mormonism too. And by the late 20th century, many saints adopted for a public presentation that veered noticeably towards the Christocentric emphases of the 1830s church. As a result, my students find offensive the suggestion that they're not Christians. They still hold to some of what I've called the Nauvoo theology, of course, but they are hard-pressed to explain where much of it comes from. Where the redemptive and grace themes have strong presence in LDS scripture, the exaltation and divinization themes appear most fully articulated in the late sections of the Doctrine and Covenants. A lot of Latter-day Saints don't read them, trust me, I teach it, and especially in the sermonic and devotional material of the 19th century. Young Latter-day Saints today are thus brought up on one set of themes far more than the other. They have a hazy sense that God the Father was once a man, but an overwhelming majority of my students admit to never having read the famed King Follett address of Joseph Smith. They tell evangelical students that in the afterlife they will create their own worlds as gods, but they have no idea where that idea comes from. The textual thinness of the Nauvoo theology, at least in terms of what modern saints actually read, thus presents my students with some glaring problems in interreligious dialogue. It is not uncommon for evangelical students interested in Mormonism to have had more exposure to the 19th century themes. More than once, a puzzled BYU student has turned to me and quite honestly asked, "Do we still believe this?" So as much as some LDS traditionalists bemoan the grace-heavy versions of Mormonism issuing from the likes of Stephen Robinson or Robert Millett, I would argue that Ezra Taft Benson did more to awaken modern saints to grace than any BYU professor ever could. Immersion in the Book of Mormon and the revelations of the 1830s brings one unavoidably to Christ's saving grace. I don't think LDS scholars and writers are merely cozying up to evangelicals to avoid ridicule, in other words. Robinson and Millett are the natural consequences of a call to hear the Book of Mormon's soteriological bottom line.